This is the Healey Brothers Show.
Welcome back to the Healey Brothers Show. We got James Barrett, our general manager from Hyundai here. And today's a special episode because some customers kind of have a bad taste in their mouth about dealerships or the customer experience, and some people just think it's always bad at a dealership. But we buck the trend here at Healey, and there's no better person to have here talk about it and what customers can expect than James Barrett. I mean, he prides himself on it, he trains about it, and he instills it in all his people to have that great customer experience. So first, I just want to touch on what can customers expect in the service department when they walk in. I mean, even from the first phone call, because I know we have our customer care center. What can they expect when they're first trying to make an appointment, come in, and all that? If you just want to walk us through of what they could expect here at Healey Hyundai and at all of our dealerships for the most part.
Well, one of the things that a lot of people don't know is the ease of making appointments has changed. You don't need to call somebody. You don't need to get somebody on the phone. You can make these appointments online. But if you prefer to speak to somebody, we're happy to obviously take the phone calls. And we're going to do a lot of double checking to make sure that we make the most of a customer's time. We're going to check your VIN. We're going to make sure if there's recalls that we let you know that there's going to be a recall performed while it's here. We're going to give you a reasonable expectation on the amount of time that you're going to be here. And then also just find out, if there's anything else that's needed so that we can be prepared. I think customers' expectations are obviously, it's everything. I think the making of the appointments is not an issue at all when it comes to how customers perceive dealerships. I think where a lot of them make the mistake is not being prepared and not being upfront with the amount of time something's going to take once a customer or maybe even arrives. Customers' expectations on the amount of time a service should take is about 3 minutes.
Give or take.
I mean, realistically, we all do it. We all think that things take significantly less time than they do. When you tell a client that it's going to be between 60 to 75 minutes for a basic service, it's a customer doesn't realize what goes into a service. They don't realize that there's time being utilized to verify a lot of the things about their particular vehicle. Again, is there anything we need to know or perform while the vehicle's here that you didn't know about? How long it takes to go through their vehicle. We check their brakes, their tires, their fluids. We have to go through the entire vehicle, whether somebody's here for an inspection or they're here for a major service. There's still things that we have to do, which is no different than going to your doctor. No matter what you go to your doctor for, they're going to check your blood pressure, they're going to check your weight, they're going to check your vitals, they're going to have you inhale and exhale when they have the stethoscope on you. Like, those things happen every single time. It's no different here. So the expectations are, hey, all we're going to do is change the oil and change the filter and get your car out. That's not the case. We're going to look over it like it's our own. Then we give a complimentary car wash at the end of the service. We give the car a test drive after a lot of services are done. So these things can't take just a few minutes. Some other factors come into play is, we have a lot of very important customers that are here that have emergencies. Sometimes we need to do whatever it takes in order to get somebody their car back a little faster than normal because they have to get the car because they have to pick up their kids or they have an emergency that whatever the case is, we do our best to try to make sure that we also have the opportunity to be flexible to fit people's emergencies in, and which then makes us not absolutely perfect. There are going to be some delays here and there, but we do our best to mitigate that. We have rental vehicles available. We have shuttle services available. We do our absolute best to make sure that we give all of our customers, the best experience possible.
And if you do want to wait, it's not too bad waiting at any of our facilities. You have big screen TVs, snacks galore, probably some of the best coffee you can get around. I know we harp on that. So
yeah, waiting at a service facility. And we've had. This has happened in the past, and I remember hearing stories about it. But we've had service areas around our dealerships where people would go get something done and then walk across the street and come into our waiting areas because they were a lot more comfortable, because our coffee was better, because we had snacks. It wasn't just 8-hour-old coffee with some powdered creamer. These things all add up to the expectations that we've created on our own. People come to a Healey facility, their expectation is they're going to get the best treatment, they're going to get the best service, they're going to have the most comfortable atmosphere, they're going to have the best amenities.
Cleanliness amenities
yeah.
too. We pride ourselves on that, so that's huge
Yeah.
too.
So it's a gift and a curse being the place that, is, the epitome of what everybody should expect elsewhere, but they don't get it. So it's good for us. We get a lot of customers coming from other locations. Maybe it's the first time. Maybe they weren't able to fulfill the scheduling for the customer and they needed to come to us for the first time. But once they come here, they're locked in. They're going to drive. I can't tell you how many people say, hey, I drive 45 minutes to an hour to come to your service facility versus somewhere local because of the great experience I have. And we pride ourselves on that. That's like the best thing we can ever hear.
And I know our guys do a great job in the back too. Like if they do need a fix, we tend to fix it on the first time. Like we troubleshoot it and we get it right a lot of the times. And that doesn't happen in a lot of shops. So one thing I want to touch on here, what are our advisors doing? What are our managers doing? What are our techs doing? Communicate with our advisors to set that expectation for the customer. What are we doing differently to really inform that customer and give them the knowledge to understand how long their vehicle is going to take, or whether they have to drop it off at night, or what are we doing differently and how are we instilling that in our people?
Well, one of the things that we've changed is having a lot more people, a lot more of our clients drop the vehicles off so we can perform those services throughout the day. We're able to handle significantly more customers each day because of having that flexibility. If a car is dropped here all day, we will get to it at some point, but we'll filter that car in when there's a gap. And by doing that, we're able to handle the clients that, hey, I can't drop the car off, I need to wait. And then luckily we have tons of people who say, hey, you know what, I'm happy to leave the car all day, just call me when it's done and I'll pick it up at the end of the day. So having that flexibility and that scheduling, I think that's where a lot of dealers or even local, smaller service shops make the mistake, is they don't realize that there has to be flexibility. You can't have every single client come in for a specific time each and every time, because there's going to be other things that are going to get done when the car is here. Somebody comes in, I'm just here for an oil change, but you didn't realize the brakes need to be repaired. Well, that's going to take a few extra hours. How does that factor in throughout the day? We need to be flexible and be really good with how we schedule things in order to get those vehicles out in a timely manner. I mean, some dealers have 2-3 week waits just to come in for oil changes. I don't know how Phil does it here in service, but we're able to handle a significant amount of appointments each day. And we also, hey, if somebody comes in and says, hey, I need something done right now, somehow he figures it out and we get it done. And that's, we don't want to give up any opportunity, whenever possible, especially if it's somebody's first time here. We want to give them a great service and give them a reason why they should come here over and over again. But that's part of it, in terms of throughout the services, the advisor's job is to make sure that they're managing their time properly and their customers' expectations by informing them as much as they can.
Relaying the information from the technician saying, hey, you need new tires, hey, you need new brakes, and efficiently doing that, not just waiting until the last minute.
Sure. Well, we do a check over of the vehicle very, very quickly upon the vehicle coming in. It's the first thing we do. So no matter what the client is here for, they're going to get a multi-point inspection that's going to show everything that we found. Everything's perfect. This needs to be handled. This needs to be handled next time. We should do this today. This is how much longer it'll take. How can we make this convenient for you? Do you want to reschedule for the other things that need to be done? I mean, whatever the customer's needs are, we'll figure it out. But, throughout the day, clients want to be informed. Sometimes realistically, they want to be informed more than what is probably reasonable.
Yeah, it's like someone waiting for their blood work. You kind of want it back right away. You're sitting on, you're getting a little nervous.
Right, and and we, it's just natural for somebody to think that, I'm the only client. I'm the only one waiting for blood work, or I'm the only one waiting for a service. Meanwhile, there's another 85 other cars here today getting worked on all at the same time. But it's natural to have that feeling. So, again, you update the people as much as we possibly can. Text messaging has really changed everything. Calling somebody, waiting on hold, or waiting for a voicemail, or leaving a voicemail and waiting for a reply. Text messaging allows us to do this immediately. Clients absolutely, love that a lot more than having to be on the phone. Face it, none of us want to be on the phone if possible. So,
absolutely.
So, again, we'll send the MPI through email. We'll send text message letting somebody know when the vehicle is going to be approximately ready. And
That's a text about service right now.
No, well, it's my wife telling me that her expectations of me to answer the phone right now. No. So those are the things that we continue to work on. And again, we're not perfect. Again, smaller shops are probably able to do this even a little bit easier because of the sheer volume. But we want both. We want to service every car in the Hudson Valley. All of our stores do. Every single facility we have wants to be the place that you bring a car to, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, we pride ourselves on the customer loyalty too. We want you to come back for life. That's like one of our philosophies. So,
yeah.
And I'm with you 100%. If you come here once, we want you to be part of the family forever.
Yeah.
And the people that are here, you're not going on the back burner. We appreciate everything, and we want to make your time even better every time you come. So
yeah.
That's always important to us. So one last question in service. We all know this happens. Something goes wrong. Something goes out of whack. How are we fixing it? What are we doing to make it right? And what's the first step we take there?
Well, one of the things that happens that I find extremely important is you have clients send in maybe even reviews or emails about they had something go wrong, and luckily there's two different ways to kind of look at these either reviews or these emails coming in. You can look at them as, well, I think the only way to really look at them as is opportunities. Somebody's voicing their opinion, and you have to be thankful that they took the time to bring this to light, because unfortunately there's tons of people who do business every day that had a bad experience and don't let anybody know, and then they decide that I'm just not going to do business with that place ever again. If we know there's an issue, we at least have an opportunity to figure out how to fix it. So, when it comes to any of these reviews, emails, I answer them personally. I see them, I answer them, I get on the phone right away. I do everything I can to make sure the customer realizes that I hear you, I understand what you're saying. I'll try to make sense out of it. If we're obviously in the wrong, we're going to figure out a solution for it. Sometimes it's just having a conversation with explaining what actually transpired, and the client may look at it as, oh, so actually nothing went wrong. And that's always the best one, is that they didn't realize that this was a normal way of doing things or the exact way it had to be done. And they appreciate, for the most part, somebody reaching out and saying, all right, I'm not just a customer, or it wasn't just a transaction. They didn't just take my money for whatever it was. They're looking for somebody to, they want me to come back, or they want me to do business with them again in the future.
Yeah, I think also like a lot of dealerships too, like those negative reviews, like on Google, a lot of them just let it go and die.
Yeah.
We're involved in every single one. I mean, I see every single one. You get involved, immediately. Every GM does. It's not like we're waiting 5 days. We're getting information, we're acting on it, and we want to hear your side of the story. Sure. It's the only way we can get better.
Sure.
And make your experience better.
But you're never going to be perfect, and some of them are. Listen. The fact is that we live in a time where a lot of the things and a lot of the opinions are kind of unwarranted, because people don't know how the business works. You go to a restaurant. Took me 30 minutes, to get this, or 45 minutes to get that. But, it was a Friday night. There was 3 parties going on at the same time. A
lot of different stuff going on.
It was just a perfect storm, and you happened to be visiting us that night. Give us another opportunity when these things don't happen, and we can show you how we can, make the experience better. It's the same thing with us.
Well said. Well said. All right. So now we're going to switch gears here. We're going to talk about the sales side. What is a customer and we'll start the same way, whether it's a phone call, lead, or however we're first interacting with that consumer at the store. How are we handling it? What are their expectations that we're setting for that customer?
Well, that's a great question. That's exactly what we train, is how to figure out how to understand the customer's point of view as fast as possible. What are their expectations as quickly as possible? So you train that by, first of all, the first thing when somebody walks to the dealership, if there's not a smiling face greeting them, it's pretty much downhill from there, right? The expectations of a customer are they're going to walk into a business, they're going to get greeted properly. It's again, back to a restaurant again. I guess I use so many restaurant analogies, but
you're a restaurant guy.
A great restaurant, has somebody up front, and you better have a really good personality up front, because that's going to start the process. But again, having an introduction immediately to the entire team is extremely important to us. You're going to get greeted by a sales consultant. We're going to find out what you're doing, why you're here, what your plans are, what your, how we can make the experience and the time you're going to be here, most used or best used. We're going to introduce you immediately to our management team so that you know everybody that's going to be involved in the transaction. I think that transparency is important. I think somehow we still live in a time where everybody knows that there are sales managers that work the figures and do the trades and all these things, but they don't have to be somebody behind the Iron Curtain. They don't have to be the Wizard of Oz. They can be somebody that's just involved in it from the beginning. And we ask the right questions. We ask not just about what they're looking to do, but what were their past experiences like. What do they feel makes a great salesperson? How much time do they have set aside for today? Like, these questions are very important because it shows that that you care. Hopefully we're writing down these answers as well. So I think that changes things a little bit. It gives the customer a better idea that, hey, I'm dealing with a professional. I'm dealing with somebody that's been trained in order to make this experience perfect. And I think that's a really great start. That's literally the first part of it. But finding the right car as fast as possible. Time is super important to customers. So if they come in with some ideas of what they want, we figure out how to satisfy that as quickly as possible. We get the transaction done. Literally, as soon as somebody says, that's the car I want to buy, we can have them in and out here in 60 minutes. And that's going through paperwork, that's getting the car cleaned. We have a team, a concierge team that handles all the insurance, that's going to review all the vehicle with them. Again, when somebody says they're in the dealership all day, there's no reason for that. It all stems from either salesperson not figuring out what the actual right vehicle should have been, or asking the wrong questions throughout the process, or not moving fast enough from each part. So we work on that every day. We do our best to try to make sure that we are the best at that. And at the end of the experience, the best thing I love to hear is, hey, this was the best car buying experience I ever had. This was way better than the last place I've been to. Those are the things that we strive to want to hear during each transaction, and that way we know we did a great job.
So a quick caveat. So what if someone wants to just go and do most of it online? Is that the capabilities there? Are we still getting involved? How are we handling those?
Well, the fact is that most people can do it online anyway.
Yeah.
They can go on our website. They can put the down payment they want. They can put their estimated credit score in. An interest rate will pop up. A lease term will pop up. All they literally have to do is pick a car and utilize our website, and they can come in and say, I already did all the numbers. That's the car I want. And then 60 minutes later, they're in the car.
And they could put their credit in too. It's easy as that.
They can get the credit approved ahead of time. They can absolutely do all of those things. I still think there's obviously a significant amount of people that still want to touch, feel, and go through the process.
I would definitely say on the pre-owned side, that's a big one too.
Yeah, and I think it's just a comfort level. I think we all still kind of feel a little weird about maybe putting information online, but again, you don't have to do it that way. But when somebody comes in and we say, hey, have you already picked out a vehicle and have you already picked out your terms? If they say yes, which is unfortunately very few. If they did that, the transaction process would be immediate.
Yep.
Buying a car would be the fastest thing, as it would be faster than going to Home Depot and buying a washer and dryer. But as time goes on, I think more and more people will get more acclimated to want to do it that way. But I still think the transaction, though, between the customer and the salesperson, you need salespeople. You can't get around that. The salespeople are the ones that find things out or verify information that you maybe did some research on. Sometimes it's different than what you thought because maybe you were on a wrong website or maybe you read something incorrectly. Salespeople lock in all that information, make sure you're looking at the right vehicle, make sure you love it, and then obviously...
And make sure you understand it. The technology is getting crazy in these vehicles.
Well, that's why we have people, again, concierge team that's there strictly to do all of these little things like, and it's not little, but go through your car top to bottom. Some people just get thrown the keys and say thanks so much for the business and then see you later and call me if you don't know how something works. Like that's not a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, I know you harp on it is the product knowledge too for all those guys. You guys are here professionals. You're not here just to take orders. You're here to help these customers get exactly what they want. You're supposed to know everything about the car, the process, and how it works. So, and I know you instill that power in all of them.
I'm not gonna use a financial advisor that doesn't know more about stock markets and things of that nature than I do.
Oh, you don't want to use me?
So yeah, we have to know more. Not just we have to, obviously you have to know more than your customers. I mean, obviously sometimes you get people who are that really lock in and do an exorbitant amount of research prior to, and I'm hoping that those people would be just equal to our staff. But it's a really important thing to make sure that our people know more about what they're doing than our competition, which will help separate us.
All right, so a couple more here. What are we doing? Say there's an issue along the way. The customer's just not, and the salesperson or sales specialist they're kind of battling, not getting anywhere. What are we doing differently to help that customer get over the finish line and get what they want, get the vehicle they need, and they want?
Well, I mean, are you referring from from a negotiation process?
Yeah, not negotiation. Just like say there's something going wrong. The customer's not as happy with the experience at the time. How are we fixing that experience?
Yeah, well, I mean that
or saving that experience.
That comes to play. That's what our management team is there for. Our management team does need to come in sometimes, and it's probably.
And that's why you meet them in the beginning as well. So.
Yeah, because I want them as part of the process, but our managers, do know a bit more about the psychology of a customer. Sometimes, when you're a salesperson, you're heavily invested in this situation, but sometimes you don't realize that, if you're going down the wrong path, you got to pull the parachute sometimes, and another voice or another opinion or another angle is needed, and having someone else come in and maybe kind of feel out the situation to find out maybe where something went wrong, it allows us to get back on the right road. And that's typically what our great managers in our company are there to do. We're guiding the road to the sale the entire time, but if the directions get lost, sometimes we got to find the car and get back in and get back on the roadmap. And having managers that have been doing this for so long, we've seen every scenario there is. We've seen every situation, and I think that's extra. It's exponentially important to be able to get into a customer's head to say, I know where you're coming from. Let's just kind of review this a little bit more so we can get back on the right path.
I mean, it's very well said. So one of the most important things, I think, in the sales process, and I think you would agree with me, how important is the post-sale communications with our customer?
Well,
I know you harp on it.
It's whether or not you want that customer next time to make a phone call to you saying, I'm coming in and I want to get another car for my daughter, or I want to get another car for myself, or I'm just going to go online and kind of see what I find, and when something catches my interest, I'm going to go there. You need to have a relationship, and salespeople can't expect to have a relationship with customers if they haven't contacted them or shown any reason as to why they're valuable down the road. So contacting customers periodically, it's none of it is about following up to sell you another car. Like that cannot be the reasoning as to why you follow up with a customer. It has to be, in the event something else comes up at any time during the course of their ownership, that they feel comfortable to be able to contact you. And if they have that feeling, why would they want to buy a car from anybody else other than the person that they're super comfortable with? Because, and you also have to show that you were valuable. Did a client have an issue, maybe for whatever reason, getting a service appointment on the day that they needed it? Can they call their salesperson and say, hey, I really need your help here? And can we come through and give them the VIP experience that they deserve? Yeah. They had a question about something about their car. Were you available within a reasonable amount of time to be able to call them back and say, hey, here's the answer? Those things are valuable,
and they mean a lot to the customer.
But most salespeople, unfortunately, don't have any value after the sale, and that's our fault as
leaders.
Well, our fault as a I'm talking about just the auto business.
Industry.
Overall, the industry.
Yeah.
The industry allows having really mediocre follow-up with clients, and they wonder why they lose market share, or they wonder why they don't increase sales over time. And that's our fault as leaders in our own, but it's the norm, unfortunately, in all businesses, really. So we that has to be absolutely the most important thing. Is after we sell a car, how do we make sure that we add value as to why why they should think about us at all times, during the hopefully the rest of their lives while they're buying cars. And that's how they send friends, and that's how they'll send, relatives. And you're not going to send people in unless they got a good experience the last time. You're not going to. I don't care what you're offering them as a benefit. No one's going to send their family member into a ring of fire, with a bad experience.
You have to become their friend. You have to be. I mean, friends do business with friends, and I think one of the best at it. I mean, we did a podcast with him. Is Nick at Kia. Mm-hmm. He does a phenomenal job, and obviously you were there with him at one point until you moved to Hyundai. So
yeah. Well, he offers that. I mean, he has people call him for anything,
literally anything,
and he's more than happy to take that phone call every time, because every one of those things adds a little bit extra, just another notch, of value. So, and he's been doing a great job of that for a very long time.
All right, so just to close up here, we talked about the customer experience, what customers can expect in service and sales, from phone calls in to coming to our facility or doing it online. We talked about all that and the importance of creating the best possible experience, customer loyalty, and really handling that customer so they never want to leave Healey. If you were going to give us one quick sentence or word, what separates Healey Brothers experience from other dealers?
Consistency.
And why do you say that?
Well, we've created a bar that the expectations are when you come to a Healey location that you have the best possible staff available in our area to do whatever it is that you need done. We have the best technicians. We have the best service advisors. We have the best sales teams. We have the best technologies. We have the best people working on our websites and working on our advertising and working on our customer communications. We consistently do better than other businesses with the people that we have employed by Healey Brothers.
Very well said. I think what you're pretty much saying here is we're setting the bar high for the other dealers to catch up. So
good luck.
That's consistency. That was a good one. That was real good. Well, James Barrett, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and follow us at Healey Brothers on all social platforms.